she was very talented, but she left suddenly years ago. Did she ever return? Recently, maybe. The woman thought for a moment. She came in 3 months ago, just walked around the art room. Didn't say much. She left a donation and a note for her students. A quote, actually. She handed Armaan a copy. It read, "Some paintings remain incomplete, not because the artist gave up, but because some emotions don't fit within a frame." His heart sank. It was so Miral, poetic, layered, quietly aching. Later that day he met Ali again. I need to find her, Ali. Not because I expect answers, but because I never stopped loving her. Ali was quiet for a while and said, "There is one thing. I never thought it mattered. But 3 months ago, a friend of mine who works at a therapy center in Islamabad mentioned a girl named Miral. She didn't share much, just that she was healing, quietly." Armaan grabbed his friend's hand. "That's all I need, just a name of the place." A week later, Islamabad. The therapy center stood on a quiet hill away from city chaos. The receptionist confirmed her name after checking records. "She comes here sometimes, but we can't share client information." Armaan respected that. He wrote a letter, just a few lines, and requested the staff to hand it over if she ever came again. The letter. "Miral, if you're reading this, know that I never searched for you to get answers. I searched because love, real love, doesn't stop. Not with silence, not with time. If you're healing, I won't interrupt. But if one day you ever feel ready to return to the chapter we never finished, I'll be waiting, not with questions, just with open arms. Armaan." He returned to Lahore. Days passed. Then weeks, no reply. Until one evening, as rain began to fall once again, soft, tender, like the first time they met, the doorbell rang. Dottie opened the door. There she stood, Miral, drenched in the rain, her eyes holding years of untold stories. "Armaan," she whispered. He stepped forward, his eyes wide but soft. "Miral." They stood there in silence, in rain, the world finally quiet. No explanations, no blame, just two people who had once lost everything, now standing before each other, with everything again. The rain had stopped, but Armaan and Miral were still standing in the veranda as if time itself had paused. No words, no questions, just an ocean of old memories reflected in their eyes. "Miral." Armaan spoke softly, as if her name, falling from his lips, had come alive once more. Miral looked at him, the same gentle eyes, the same smile, but now there was a weariness in them, the kind that comes from waiting, from loneliness. "Come inside," Dottie said, quietly observing them both before walking away. She understood. Some wounds are not healed by time alone, but only by love. In the room, a little later. Both held cups of tea, but neither had taken a sip. "I always knew I would return one day," Miral said softly. "But I was afraid that maybe you had changed. I have changed." Armaan met her gaze, but only in the way that I've become deeper. Everything was fine without you, but never complete. Tears welled up in Miral's eyes. "Armaan, I was broken. After that day when Papa..." And then when I left everything behind, every day I just felt guilt. I couldn't write for you. I couldn't even speak. Miral, I never resented your silence. I only missed your presence." When her father passed away, Miral shut herself off from the world. In therapy sessions, only one name echoed through her heart: Armaan. But her thoughts always told her, until I can forgive myself, I cannot love anyone. She had stopped painting, stopped writing. But the rains of Lahore pulled her back, returning to that old tree, leaving that note. It was nothing but a fragile hope that maybe, just maybe, Armaan would understand. Now they stood before each other, without hatred, without complaints. I haven't come back just to visit, Miral said. I've come back to stay. With you, if you'll have me. Armaan took her hand. I wasn't waiting for you, Miral. I was praying you'd return. The rain started again, gently, as if the sky too knew that some things can only be said when it rains. Next day, a new beginning. The morning in Lahore was filled with new colors. Miral picked up her paints again. Her first canvas was of Armaan. She painted a picture, an old street, a boy, a girl, and rain falling between them. Dottie looked on from behind and smiled. Is everything all right now? Miral wiped her tears and replied, Everything has just begun. City bazaar, Lahore, sunshine and liveliness. Miral and Armaan stood in front of an old bookstore. A poster was taped on the glass window. Miral Solo Art Exhibition opening this Sunday. Armaan looked at it, then smiled at her. You've changed everything. Miral softly replied, You brought me back to life. They walked inside the bookstore. The scent of books felt like old memories returning. Miral picked up a diary. Its pages were blank, but her eyes were full of stories. This time I'll write, she said. While sitting beside you, every word that once became silence. Miral and Armaan had first met in a bookstore just like this one. That day, Armaan had caught her diary just as it slipped from her hands. I never asked you. What had you written in your diary that day? Armaan asked with a smile. Miral laughed and replied, I had written, maybe someday I'll meet someone who understands me more than my words do. Maybe someday I'll meet someone who understands me more than my words do. The gallery was glowing, full of paintings and the sound of a buzzing crowd. Each painting told a story of Lahore's corners, its rain, its solitude, and a girl's journey. In one quiet corner there was only a single painting, Miral and Armaan, standing beneath a tree in the rain. Below it was written, Found in the rain. Dottie placed a hand on Armaan's shoulder. When love returns, it looks even more beautiful than the first time. The sky after the rain. Miral and Armaan were on the rooftop, warm tea in their hands. The sky over Lahore was a little smoky, but their hearts were completely clear. What will you write tomorrow? Armaan asked. Maybe. Despite the fear of tomorrow, I learned to live today. Miral replied. Armaan held her hand. Then let's write new pages together. The raindrops began to fall again. This time without fear, only with peace, as if the story wasn't ending, but just beginning.